It wasn't such a long time ago that we reviewed the Sony Xperia Z2, and yet here we are, 4.5 months later, reviewing its successor, the Xperia Z3. While there's absolutely no doubt about the fact that the Z3 is an update to the Z2, well, an incremental one, and an improvement over its predecessor, should you be disappointed that your current Z2 flagship is no longer the Sony flagship? Should you go out and sell your Z2 in order to grab the new kid on the block? We'll try to answer that and more right now. I'm Anton Dinaj, this is Pocket Now, and you're watching the Xperia Z3 versus Xperia Z2 comparison video. Sony committed to releasing a flagship every 6 months, and so far it has delivered on its promise. The Z1 landed in September of 2013, followed by the Z2 at the 2014 MWC in February, and more recently, the Z3 at the 2014 IFA in September. And, so far, every new model was an improvement over the previous one. Sony is staying true to its design language, to its roots. The Z flagship has changed very little over time, and this is also valid for the Z3. Those who expect major changes should look elsewhere. Hard as they might be to spot, there are some minor tweaks though, but nothing groundbreaking. The overall construction is still a glass sandwich and aluminum frame for the body. We still have those relatively large bezels on the top or bottom, which you can either ignore or dislike. There's no way in liking them though, or it's very hard to find reasons to do so. However, similar as they might be, the Z3 looks like Sony has put the Z2 on a diet. The Z3 is 0.8mm shorter, 1.3mm narrower, and almost a millimeter thinner, at just 7.3. It is also 11 grams lighter, but these reduced dimensions don't make it feel unsubstantial. Not at all. The aluminum frame on the side is curved, making the phone feel much better in hand than the Z2, which had its rough edges and corners. Aesthetically, Sony has made other tweaks as well. We still have the top and bottom mounted front-firing speakers, which are more powerful and deliver higher quality audio than before, but their design has been slightly changed. The LED notification has also been moved from behind the earpiece on the Z2 to the top left corner on the Z3. The button placement is the same as it was before, with the volume rockers and the classic camera shutter button on the right edge. However, the slots have been moved around a little bit, with the SIM and microSD card tray both residing on the right side this time, instead of one on the left and one on the right on the Z2. And, while talking about build and aesthetics, the Z3 has managed to also improve its ingress protection ratings over the Z2. While previously we had IP55 and IP58 ratings, the Z3 is now rated IP65 and IP68. What does this all mean? Well, Sony explains it well. Quote, "The phone is dust tight and protected against low pressure jets of water from all practicable directions in compliance with IP65, and or can be kept under 1.5 meters of fresh water for up to 30 minutes in compliance with IP68. This, of course, if all ports are covered and flaps are secured. The hardware has also improved. While we still have a 5.2-inch Full HD screen, the bezels on the sides have been reduced to about 2mm each. The panel is now brighter. Sony claims it is, quote, "the world's brightest display of leading premium smartphones," of course with some disclaimers, and while still a triluminous unit, the X-Reality engine has been tweaked in order to offer better overall contrast and viewing performance. All of these really make the Z3 a better solution when viewing in direct sunlight, where the Xperia Z2 was really not excelling. Under the glass, the processor powering the Z3 is a quad-core Qualcomm Snapdragon 801 chip clocked at 2.5 GHz, which is somewhat faster on paper than the 2.3 GHz chip inside the Z2. Memory options have been kept the same, meaning 3 GB of RAM, up to 16 GB of internal storage, and up to 128 GB of expandable memory via SDXC microSD cards. The camera duo is still the same pair of 20.7 and 2.2 megapixel shooters, but the main camera on the back has received some notable enhancements over the Z2. While the megapixel count has been kept the same, the lenses accompanying the Exmor RS sensor are now 25mm wide-angle Sony G lens. And, while talking about the sensor, low light sensitivity has been improved, with the camera being able of going as high as 12,800 when selecting ISO sensitivity. 4K video recording is also supported, in case you are wondering. Audio output has been improved, both for the front-firing speakers as well as via headphones. The volume is still a little bit on the lower end with headphones like on the Z2, and we'd appreciate the availability of just 1 or 2 notches, but the Z3 no longer comes with the noise-cancelling headset the Z2 was bundled with. Instead, you get a pair of Sony MH750 headphones, which sound just as good, if not better, with some software tweaks enabled, but sadly won't kill environmental noise beyond the construction of a standard in-ear canal headphone. Software-wise, those of you familiar with Sony's offerings will feel right at home with the Z3, just like they did with the Z2. The company's own custom user interface is running on top of Android 4.4.4, and it's a newer version of the UI with larger icons opposed to the smaller icons in Sony's UI running on top of 4.4.2 on the Z2. Other than that, and a couple of tweaked widgets, everything is similar, including the app tray, which slides your panels to the right and reveals a special menu when scrolled all the way to the left. The camera application is also the same, with some special modes being added, as well as the ability for the user to download additional shooting modes and apps. Steady Shot, Sony's own digital image stabilization, now gets 3 setting toggles for off, standard, and intelligent active, instead of just an on-off toggle switch before on the Z2. Manual mode has some hidden changes as well, with the ability to only go up to ISO 3200 manually, and the addition of a face metering mode. If the faster processor wouldn't be specifically called out on a spec sheet, we wouldn't even notice. There's no difference between the Z3 and the Z2 when performing day-to-day tasks. We can't discern a difference while playing games either. Both generations are powered by the MSM 8974 Pro chip, which is the Snapdragon 801. The only difference is that the Z3 is powered by the AC variant and the Z2 by the AB version. That and 200 MHz in the Z3's favor. While it is too early to tell battery performance on the Z3 yet, we're curious to see whether it will be worse than on the Z2. For starters, it is 100 mAh smaller than the 3200 mAh battery inside the Z3. Couple that with the brighter screen and the faster processor, and the Z3 has every chance of performing worse on paper. That is, except if the AC version of the chip we mentioned before doesn't make a difference with improved power efficiency. We'll have to wait for our full review to judge battery life. Call quality though is identical with clear sound. You will still have to disable microphone noise cancellation on the Z3, just like on the Z2, should the people you talk to inform you that you sound terrible, but the switch is an easy fix. Speakerphone is louder with more oomph and richer sound on the Z3, and the camera delivers similar results under regular shooting conditions. It's the low light performance that makes a difference, and we're sure that it is thanks to the new lens, paired with that insane ISO rating, that the Z3 outperforms the Z2. Not by a large margin though, and not in the sensitivity itself, or the capability of amplifying even the slightest light source, but by the level of detail found in low light images. Even under regular circumstances, images captured with the Z3 appear to be sharper, though the color balance we found to be sometimes a little bit off. When viewing images individually and away from the scene or subject you are shooting, they look good, but they seem to not stay true to reality, something which only the author of the images can tell, and something we're sure Sony can easily fix with a software patch. Well, time to draw a conclusion, and it would be easier if we'd look at the Z3 by itself and not compared to its predecessor. Question is, if you already have a Z2, should you upgrade to the Z3? If you're a die-hard Sony fan and you have to have the latest, then by all means. In any other case, while the Z3 is definitely a step up from the Z2, you might want to wait for the Z4. Chances are that the improvements on the Z3 won't impress you that much, coming from the Z2. You'll be giving up on a brighter screen, yeah, a camera that has been somewhat improved, not that the previous iteration was a slouch, a slightly faster processor which will bring you unnoticeable speed increase, and about 1 mm of thickness. The Z2 remains a flagship phone that can stand on its own, while the Z3 builds on that, slightly improving it in certain aspects. Bottom line, you cannot go wrong with neither of the two. Folks, stay tuned to Pocket Now, as we'll have lots more on the Sony Xperia Z3, including comparisons with other flagships, devices from the competition, and our full review coming next week. I've been Anton Dinoy. You can follow me on social media and don't forget to subscribe to Pocket Now's YouTube channel as well as its social media outlets so you don't miss a video like this one when it lands. Until next time, thank you very much for watching, stay safe.